Hey, so in this video we're going to look at how to solve problems that involve angles of depression or elevation. So let's begin with our first example. It says, from an angle of depression of 40 degrees, John watches his friend approach his building while standing on the rooftop. The rooftop is 16 meters from the ground, and John's eye level is at 1.8 meters from the rooftop. What is the distance between John's friend and the building? All right, so there's a lot going on here, but I really want to begin with this angle of depression stuff. So what is it? What is meant by this angle of depression of 40 degrees? All right, well, first, let me begin by introducing to you the concept of the line of sight. So the line of sight is the line that connects John's eyes to what he is watching. So it says he's watching his friend approach his building. So the line of sight, think about it like this, it's connecting John's eyes to his friend's feet because he's watching his friend approach his building. So that's the line of sight. Now, what's the angle of depression? The angle of depression is between the line of sight and this horizontal line I just drew. This is important. So let's jump to this slide over here. In this slide, we're trying to break down angles of depression and angles of elevation. So for this problem we're working on now, we're looking at the angle of depression. So as it was just stated, the angle of depression is the angle between the line of sight and this horizontal line. So where does this horizontal line come from? Well, think about it like this. If you were looking straight ahead and not down, that's what that horizontal line is. And the angle of depression is between that horizontal line and the line of sight. All right, so we got an angle of depression of 40 degrees. And what that means is that this angle right here is 40 degrees. So that's 40 degrees. Okay? All right. Now, it's best that we connect this now so that you can see that we have ourselves a right triangle here. Okay, this is a right triangle and the right angle is right over here, all right? So little by little, we're gonna start to put all this together. So we got the angle of depression of 40 degrees. That's the angle between the line of sight and the horizontal line. All right, what else are we told? Well, we're told that the rooftop is 16 meters from the ground. And what is that referring to? Well, remember, John is on the roof. So what that means is that the height from the roof where John is to the ground is 16 meters. So this is 16 meters. Then it says John's eye level is about 1.8 meters from the rooftop. And what is that referring to? That's referring to this right here. This is 1.8 meters. So when you think about it, what must be the line, what must be the length of the line I'm highlighting here? Well, you got the 16 plus the 1.8. So the length of the highlighted line in the right triangle should be 17.8, right? Now, what do they want you to find? Well, they want you to find, it says, what is the distance between John's friend and the building? So here's the building. So they want this length over here, right? They want to know how far is John from the building. They want this. I'm going to call that y. So how do we find it? Well, if you've noticed in our initial right triangle, which I want to highlight now, well, if you notice in our right triangle, which is highlighted in yellow, this line here is going to be equal to the y that we're looking for, right? To the line that we're looking for. So how could we find y? Well, now you can use a trig ratio to find y. We can use tangent because the 17.8 is opposite from the reference angle 40. So that's opposite, and then the y is adjacent. So if we want to find y, we got to use tangent. So let's do it. So let's write the tan of 40. The tan of 40 is going to be equal to the opposite, which is 17.8, over y. Over y. All right, so now we got to solve for y. So let's do it. So we could put this over 1. We're going to cross multiply. So 17.8 times 1 is 17.8. That's an 8, believe it or not. That says 17.8. So 17.8 equals y times the tan of 40 degrees. So now we got to get y by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by the tan of 40. So we got 17.8 divided by the tan of 40. Let's get our calculator. And we get approximately 21.2. All right, our next example. Example 2 says Scott, whose eye level is 1.5 meters above the ground, stands 30 meters from a tree. The angle of elevation of a bird at the top of the tree is 36 degrees. How far above the ground is the bird? All right, so angle of elevation. Angle of elevation means you're looking up. And remember, the angle of elevation is between the line of sight and the horizontal line. So when we label everything, we should get something like this for our diagram. And what do they want? Well, they want to know how far above the ground this bird is. Well, we can't give them that right away, but we could give them something else that will help us get to our ultimate goal, which is to find how high off the ground the bird is. All right, so what do we know so far? Well, we know that he is standing 30 meters from the tree, so we know that this here would be 30. And what we can do is we can use that angle of elevation, that 30, to find BC, which I'm going to call y. So let's find y, and then we're going to use that to find our ultimate goal, which is how far above the ground is the bird. All right, so how do we find that y? So to get that y, we can use tan again. So where it's going to be the tan of 36 degrees is equal to the opposite over the adjacent, right? That's the tan ratio, opposite over adjacent. We're going to cross multiply. So we get y equals the tan of 36 times 30. So let's just do that on the calculator. So it's going to be the tan of 36, got to close that parentheses, times 30. And that is approximately 21.8 to the nearest tenth. We're not done. So we know that y equals 21.8. That's not the original question. The original question, remember, they want to know how far off the ground that bird is. They want all that I just highlighted. They want that BC plus the 1.5. So what we got to do, right, because from C to the ground is 1.5. So what we got to do to answer this question, all we have to do is add 21.8 plus 1.5, and we will get 23.3 as our final answer. All right, I hope this video helps. Take care.